Hello again. Let's look at the game Magnus Carlsen and Nigel short from the London Chess Classics. Here it was a great tournament for Magnus. He won it 2 points ahead of the others, but it's because it's like this special scoring 3 points per win. So if it would have been normal scoring, actually Magnus and Vishy Anand and Luke McShane would share first place. They would share first place if it was a normal scoring actually. So that's definitely the best tournament ever for Luke McShane, because he's not a very like he hasn't had much tournament successes. So getting shared first place here in this crowd is definitely his best tournament ever. But today we're looking at Nigel short. It's the only British player, at least in recent times, that has gotten a world championship match, at least in as I know of. He's the best, so he's the by far best British player ever, because he got this world championship match against Kasparov, and he defeated Karpov and a lot of strong players to get to it. So, but in the match against Kasparov, he was outclassed. So let's see here how this game goes. Short also plays an interesting opening here that we haven't seen too much. The French defense, it's just not popular at the highest level at this time, but it has gotten a renaissance nowadays because players like Nepomniachtchi has played it, for example, and because modern computers they think it's playable basically. Okay, so Magnus do knight d2. I think we saw Magnus maybe play knight c3 one times, but knight d2 is the more solid choice, and short does the most solid choice here. He plays takes and then knight d7. Computers, you see, computer likes it actually. Other way here is of course to play out the bishop like that, and you can also do this one. It becomes like this Caro-Can variation with ef6. So let's see what happens. Computer doesn't like this bishop c4. It's better with bishop g3 or g4 actually. g4, that's a hilarious move. That's a fun move. I've seen that. Okay. That's strange idea. It's typical modern computer novelties. Like, it's nothing that a human would think about. So this looks a bit more normal here. Here I think it looks more normal to play queen e2 and maybe like rook d1. It's typical maneuver for white, but he does this one, and he's going for the endgame here. So Magnus is of course an expert endgame player. Short is a very dangerous attacking player. So, and Magnus knows that, so he's playing against the opponent. Short is very good in tactical sharp games, but Magnus have obviously noticed that he's a weak endgame player. So that's why he's going for the endgame here. And this is like a little bit better for black. It's typical structure here. White is a bit better because he has potential to create a pass around the queen side where the king are not. So, but yeah, it's and it's not so easy. This is like a typical position that can come from these kind of French games or Caro-Can or C3 Sicilian or so. So it will be interesting and instructive to see how Magnus, because you need to have a certain kind of finesse to push the pawns here, and he does that by regrouping his bishop. This bishop should obviously be here on f3, to yeah, there is no future here. Like, he does this one. That's the liked move by the computer, and it's obviously the idea is to take here, so white has to go back, but it doesn't have to be bad for white to go back, because d3 is a fine square. It can help to support the queenside expansion later. Okay, so h6 is a typical move that when you give the king a briefing error, but yeah, it's a typical move you make when you're not sure what to make, so you just make a move and hope that you get some kind of inspiration for next move. But looks like the computer, yeah, it's just too slow basically. It's an unnecessary move. And Magnus, interesting enough, starts the queenside expansion with a4. I thought maybe c4 or b4. He can't do b4 now because of this, of course, but maybe c4. But a4 is fine. Then yeah, probably instead he can block here, but and then Magnus gives himself air. This is quite good. He tries to trade a rook and also make it harder for like a maneuver that black probably would like to place, maybe bishop here or bishop here, something like that. Now I guess one plan of the a4 is that a normal move for black here would be b6 bishop b7, but then a5, and this structure is a bit vulnerable. So Magnus regroup, and of course here a5 give this position for the knight, so the knight is perfectly placed on c4. It's attacking this pawn, threaten maybe bishop e6 and winning a pawn. So already like typical what I call Magnus magic. Here it's just completely drawn, just a few normal moves later, and Magnus is winning. I guess this of course a5 can't have been correct, but already here it's difficult, something like that, and it's already very difficult. Like, let me look at that again. Yeah, okay, so he can't do this because of that. Yeah, it's already lost. So this was called Magnus magic here. He's winning. He didn't do anything special. Opponent put his pieces on worse squares, and he's just winning before move 20 from a completely from a quite an even position. So this is interesting. Black wins the bishop here, which is usually good for black, but that knight is annoying, really annoying. And he can't go here because of this check and winning the piece. Okay, so the decisive mistake is here, e5. Yeah, he should have done this one. That's fine. Yeah. And now, of course, he threatened to go here and drive this one away. So he plays like this. Yeah, white is a pawn up and has two passers here, but the different colored bishop gives black some chances to save this. So definitely black's best chance. Now, yeah, I guess he loses a pawn. a5 and e5 are both hanging. Rook d2 needs to be prevented, of course. Should probably try this one actually. Try to get some activity. Okay, he can't give up this one. Okay, so this one should win, but yeah. Yeah, maybe that this rook is maybe I just out of play here when I look at it a bit more closely. So he did this one. Yeah, so Magnus has won a pawn, and it's just an important pawn because he has all chances to get 2 passes on the queen side here. And he's just moving around. It's often a good idea to move around and getting the opponent depressed when he has to defend a position like this. Yeah, so Short doesn't even think it's worth it to try for the opposite colored bishops here. Something like this was possible, of course. No, it's opposite colored bishop, but there is just too many passes here, so white should be winning here too. Of course, b7 is hanging now, so he has to defend it. Okay, and he gets impatient. Short guy gets impatient and try to do something, but if this one, then yeah, he could do this one also. Actually, he could win a rook like this, win a bishop like this. Yeah, so that would also be winning. So maybe it's best to try f5 here. But of course, it's not gonna work against such a solid player like Magnus. He will know how to win this. Yeah, and the a pawn will queen here. Something like this. Yeah, not enough counterplay for black here. Okay, nice game by Magnus, and see you next episode.